This mountainous backdrop to a small town life proved to be something that I, who grew up in a fairly urbanized city of Noonan, Georgia, have never experienced. I have never really described myself as a nature person, so when we were surrounded by the gorgeous landscapes in Zaruma, Ecuador, I had the privilege to embrace nature at its finest. Everywhere I looked, I saw the captivating views of mountains separated by valleys and rivers. I became very interested in how such amazing views to me, an outsider, were just an everyday part of the local population's lives to be disrespected with pollution. Not only did I start to compare mine and the locals' views on the landscape, but I started to wonder how much of an impact the environment has on the local economy and the coexisting towns. Zaruma, Ecuador is a beautiful city in the province of El Oro, meaning the gold, and it is located in southern Ecuador. Founded by Alonso de Mercadillo, a Spanish conquistador, Zaruma has a long history of its rich gold deposits that the Spanish originally exploited. It finally claimed its independence from Spain in the 1800s as it followed suit of other South American cities gaining independence from Spain. Since then, Zaruma has maintained its existence off of the gold deposits, which have been used to keep its economy afloat. The mountain views hold within them the livelihood of the local economy in a large manner. I am referring to the mining prospects that offer themselves as some of the sole means of an income, and this reliance is very evident in the fact that the mining community is so huge there. With a mining population of over 6,000, which is over half of the whole town's population, there is no denying of how monumental the mining community actually is. Therefore, I will never have the same appreciation for these mountains as they are not my means of a good livelihood. Although there is such a dependence on these mountains, there unfortunately seems to be a mistreatment of the land as well. The drilling of a mine is practically carving out the mountainside, which is to be expected in this work. Yet there is additional polluting that can truly affect the ecosystem. Now, polluting is present all over the world, including Noonan, Georgia, yet it bothers me when I saw it there after growing so fond of the beautiful landscape. The polluting is easily traced back to the processing plants improperly using mercury and not effectively taking care of the waste from their different processes. The most resonating image of pollution had to be in Portobello when we came across a processing plant that was blatantly pouring the excess tailing solution into the river located right next to it. This type of pollution contains the excess product from several processes that include heavy metals like arsenic, cadmium, mercury, and more. These heavy metals being introduced to the ecosystem will only disrupt and damage the natural way of life. I began to just ask myself how actions against the environment like this one could take place without any regulation or immediate consequences. How could a community of people condone such horrible acts against the environment that practically support their livelihoods? If there are no corrections made within the near future, there is no clue as to what sacrifices have to be made by future generations because of the carelessness found today. I then realized how the environment is easily ignored by a majority of the people. Once you're in the middle of the town Zaruma of Portobello, you quickly succumb to distractions of the multitudes of peoples and cars going through the streets in combination with all the various stores running. The views that I fell in love with were being blocked out completely by the buildings and distractions of everyday life. With an occasional glimpse of one of the mountain landscapes, there is not much to see of the views while going through town. It creates a disconnection between the people and nature. Such a disconnection between people and nature can be found all over the world. The people of Zaruma and Portobello have to overcome these distractions and focus on tightening legislation regarding the waste management and pollution in order to have any effect on bettering the environment. After seeing how the people of Zaruma and Portobello interact with the environment, I thought about my interactions with nature back home in Georgia. Just as there is a lack of importance with appreciating the landscape of mountains and rivers, I know that I undervalue a lot of the environment in which I had throughout my life. I started to change that occurrence by having a more proactive role environmentally. Whether that means to volunteer more or simply being more active outside, I plan to enjoy what I have been blessed with. However, I will always miss the idyllic views of Zaruma and Portobello as they prove to be some of the most beautiful sights I have ever seen.